You know how much pain that narcissistic ex caused you, and you know that they weren't right for you. So why is it so hard for you to get over them? If you want to understand the reasons behind this video is going to break that down for you. So if you're new here, my name's Rita and welcome to Empowered Love Within. On this channel, I help you with healing, building your self-worth, and also breaking toxic relationship patterns. So if you like that type of content, hit the subscribe button. Also, check out the description box to take my free attachment style quiz to find out what are your relationship attachment styles. And if you feel like you're ready to break those toxic relationship patterns, you can also find out more about my Attachment Reset Toolkit, link in the description. So let's get into today's video. So when I talk about narcissistic relationships, I'm talking about the type of relationship with certain key traits. So where there was manipulation, gaslighting, emotional inconsistency, and hot and cold behavior. Essentially, where your emotional needs were not met. The first thing that I need you to understand is the reason why you feel stuck is not because that relationship was special, not because that narcissistic ex was the love of your life, but because of the impact that that relationship had on your mind and your body. So one of the main reasons why you can't let go of that narcissistic ex is because you formed a trauma bond with them. So in a narcissistic relationship, you'll often experience intense highs and lows. And what that does is you become addicted to that toxic cycle. So it's no longer about missing your ex. It's actually about your body physically craving that intense high and low. Similar to someone who's addicted to some kind of substance. And that's why it's so hard to actually let go of a narcissistic ex. The inconsistent behavior from your ex will be another key reason why you form such a strong emotional attachment to them. That type of behavior where 1 minute everything's great and the next minute they're pulling away from you would have put you in a position where you form such a strong emotional dependence, even stronger than what you would have done if their behavior had been consistent, because again, you get addicted to that hot and cold behavior. Being in a narcissistic relationship can have such a traumatic impact on you that when it ends, you're actually seeking some type of closure. Your mind is trying to figure out what happened. Was it me? Is there something that I could have done to fix this? But the trouble is, when you're in a narcissistic relationship, you rarely get closure, but your mind is in that loop of trying to figure out what's going on. And whilst you're in that cycle, you're going to find it really hard to actually let go. And by the way, if you haven't watched my video, why do you still miss your ex even though they treated you badly? You should check that out, because in that video, I go more into the dynamics of why you're still missing someone who treated you so badly. When you're in a narcissistic relationship, they can pick up on the core wounds that you have. You would have had those wounds before you even met them, but they can sense that you have that fear of being alone, that fear of abandonment, that fear of not being enough, and they will play on those core wounds and actually activate them. So of course, when that happens, you cling to them even more because those core wounds are exposed. Another reason why it's so hard to let go of that narcissistic relationship is because your nervous system is dysregulated. The anxiety in that relationship, the fear, that anticipation of not knowing what's coming next, that has put your body into a state of chaos, and you've got used to that. So chaos feels like connection and calm feels odd. So the fact is, you're now craving that dysregulation and that dysfunction. You're attached to the potential of what that ex could have been or what the relationship could have grown into. Maybe you saw glimpses of that at the beginning of the relationship and you're just fixated on that and wanting to get that back. And that is another key reason why it's so hard to let go, because you're constantly projecting into the future. This is what they could have been and this is what the relationship could have grown into. You've become so ingrained in that whole narcissistic relationship that you've lost a part of yourself. You've lost your individual identity, and it's so hard to think of yourself being outside of that partnership. That's another reason why you'll find it hard to let go of that narcissistic relationship. But I really need you to remember that just because you find it hard to let go, it doesn't mean that that person was right for you. Your body's attached to them. You're conditioned to think that this type of situation is normal, and you have certain patterns that are keeping you within that situation that you need to work on. And this is why when people say to you, oh, just move on from them, and they make it sound so easy, it sometimes isn't that easy to just move on. And there's a lot of patterns that need to be broken down, a lot of conditioning that needs to be undone, and a lot of thought patterns that need to be rewired. And if you're trying to understand those patterns, check out my free quiz. That will give you an insight into what patterns do you hold when it comes to relationships, and it will give you a deeper understanding about the areas that you need to work on. And if you really feel like I'm ready now to break this toxic relationship pattern, check out my Attachment Reset Toolkit, which will take you through a very simple 5-step process to break those patterns for good. And if you want me to make a video on how do you actually detach from a narcissistic ex, comment below the word detached and I'll make that video next. So remember, don't get frustrated with yourself because you're finding it so hard to let go of that narcissistic ex. Remember, this is about conditioning. It's about the patterns that you have, and it's about the impact that that relationship has had on your mind and body, and they can be broken. So if this video resonated with you, please like the video and also subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.